team, and that's for real. Oh, you said something. When they kick off, he gon' kneel. I don't wanna hear none if it ain't about the bills. We'll be running out the tunnel, better stay up on your heels. We might leave your ankles on the field, put you on the rail. How you feel? Feel the watch the sweep just like a broom. Hail Mary, and put his GM in a tomb. Make some room, call it time out, cause they not ready. Think they feeling all the pressure, cause they know I apply it heavy. Try to cover one-on-one, my cuss gon' be too deadly. Have him watching all that film while he's snuggling on his teddy. Man, who let me step up in the game with a mindset of making sure I'm heard? I'm pointed tenant, it ain't time yet. When it is, I bet you know, don't fix your legs to come around me. If you acting all scary in the snow, oh, you said something. Tell your homie better chill. He don't ride how we ride for our team, and that's for real. Oh, you said something. When they kick off, he gon' kneel. I don't wanna hear none if it ain't about them bills. Oh, you said something. Tell your homie better chill. He don't ride how we ride for our team, and that's for real. Oh, you said something. When they kick off, he gon' kneel. I don't wanna hear none if it ain't about them bills.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to BillsWrld. We are back again after a little bitty break, but hey, football is back. We had the Hall of Fame game last week, and now we got Buffalo Bills football this weekend. First of all, I'm just General Raffer, and I'm here as always with the legend in two games, no Pee-wee, Coach Muki Hawkins. What's going on, Coach? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Obviously, I hope everybody is safe because of the tornado we had today. I'm like, okay, well, damn, Buffalo, we haven't had, we just about had everything except for a tornado. So here it is. The tornado has landed here in Buffalo. So, I hope everybody is safe from it.
Second one in a couple months, I think.
Yeah, but this one touching down right downtown Buffalo was like, yeah. That's 5 minutes. That's not even 5 minutes away from here. So it's like, yeah. We got water spouts. They want to be a part of downtown Buffalo too. So, what else? What else can be new? With this Bills team. Going into training camp, OTAs was very promising, and then here is training camp, and the usual suspects are the usual suspects. But there's been some surprises, and not too much disappointments, but there's been some definitely surprises out of camp, and leading with this rookie class. So I'm pretty excited. Guys really get to lock horns. This weekend versus the Bears. Coach Washington and Tremaine Edmonds and all those guys, they're coming back to Buffalo to compete and have some fun. So I'm excited. So I get a good look at these 2s and 3s that we're really going to see out there against the Bears.
Yeah, and just in a preliminary role that they've been playing in so far in the training camp, obviously, you don't really get to see what they're going to look like in the midst of an actual NFL season. But one of the things that concerns everybody, except probably the people in Buffalo, is this offense and a way it's going to be able to produce, especially at the gaudy levels that it has been producing over the last half decade. From your perspective, you've seen them in pads a couple of days. They got good off-season training program in. Does this look like an offense that will be able to take the Bills on a deep playoff run?
Yeah. I don't know why, everybody's just thinking that this team is just going to have a drastic drop-off because of Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. I mean, it's not often that, a quarterback loses his 1 and 2 wide receiver, but, change is good. Josh, where he is as far as his career, and, having to be around some new dogs, some more guys that's athletic, some more guys that pretty much fit his skill set, a little bit more than the old, regime that was here offensively. This is going to be a complete different offensive look. So I think that this offense is really going to accentuate Josh's abilities more rather than the arm talent, right? The overall, abilities of Josh, him being able to be accurate outside of the pocket, using his legs, that will help his arm, in reference to not just using his legs to run, more or less of a term. And again, he has more athletic weapons. He has more weapons than he's had in his career. So again, I think you're going to see a more efficient Josh when it comes to that. So I don't see no drop off offensively.
You know how I see the Bills? I see the Bills as like this is just stick with me for a second. Josh Allen is kind of like LeBron to me, right? When you got LeBron, he's in Miami, he's in Cleveland, and they bring in good players, and then the players around maybe don't look as good for some reason, or it's like once D Wade or Chris Bosh, after LeBron, after they get their stuff off, then they need somebody else to produce, and it's like everybody is staring around looking at the big three, like we waiting for them to do something, we waiting for them to make magic. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that kind of was how our Bills offense was, right? Everybody was like, Josh, make a play, Steph, make a play. And I feel like now you get just Josh and then a bunch of guys who can all be playmakers. And I feel like it takes a little bit of the top heaviness off of the offense a little bit, in the sense where a guy who maybe would see maybe 2-3 targets a game last year, if you get on a hot streak, you could be, the leading target getter for any given week. You know what I mean? So there's a ton of opportunity for a lot of talented players. And I think that in itself is going to lead to, iron sharpening iron, and some more, I just think competitiveness and that taking you farther, guys making each other better. So that's kind of how I see the Bills offense. I just see Josh Allen like that. I see a lot of people like looking at him just to make a play. And I think what you said, his skill set would be more in tune with this offense. I think that would be why, because guys are looking for opportunities, to step up and be, another great player. Like, hey, if there's a guy to help you become a great player, it's Josh Allen. You getting to contribute to what he will be to history, that in itself should be motivation, But who are some of the offensive surprises you've seen so far this year?
Well, yeah, not to mention that, there's over 200 targets available, with the departures of Davis and Diggs there. So they're going to be able – defenses don't know what to expect right now, because last year, okay, you knew the Bills had Stephon Diggs. They knew that Stephon Diggs, he was basically 50 to 60% of Josh's targets. So it's easy to scheme for that. When they know a guy has the bulk of the percentages of the targets, it's easy to scheme for that. You can't scheme for that right now. You don't know who's Josh's favorite target right now. So that's going to take 4 to 5 weeks for teams to figure out, So, and by that time, hopefully Coach Brady will know how to adjust off that, because, teams are going to start taking some of the things that you do best away. And that's going to be the biggest, thing going into, with Brady. But we'll dive into the coaching portion a little bit later on. But offensive surprises, I don't even want to say that this guy's a surprise. This is that, I've been telling people all along, minus the 4.6, 540, Keon Coleman, if you had to do a redraft over again, Keon Coleman is definitely going in the first round. If you really had to do a draft over right now, Keon Coleman would definitely not be, a second round pick. But the Bills, to their knowledge and strategic planning, came out with a great plan to, keep an eye on the kid to the very first pick in the second round. And, they got a third round pick. So, he's been surprising in a way to really everybody get an opportunity to see, everything translate. It's so much question mark, especially with the 4.6 40 coming out of the combine. It kind of like took everything off of, what he did best, which is catching the football. I don't think the kid has really dropped a pass in training camp. And again, you see the connection inside the red zone, which I keep telling everybody that this guy is going to have over 10 plus touchdowns this year, because of now Josh really has a red zone threat. And we all know who that red zone threat is. Primary one red zone target is definitely Keon Coleman. That's something that this offense have never, ever experienced. So, you see that. I went out and comped Keon as a Des Bryant 2.0, a guy that's definitely going to go up there and get it, who has strong hands, but definitely a great catch radius with pluckability. So he's a playmaker in that sense, to where it's going to help Josh Allen, down the field as well, because this guy can be a deep target as well, being 6'4" and easy to spot down the field. With that 50-50 ball, ability still, can pay off in some big chunk plays with a guy that's athletic as Keon Coleman. Other surprises, I would say, offensively, Tyrell Shavers. Tyrell Shavers has definitely pushed the pot for a roster spot right now. He's definitely taking an advantage of Chase Claypool being out with the toe injury there. Marquez Valdez-Scantling has not been, I mean, he's been steady, but nothing really pops out, right? And Shavers, he's bubbled up from getting reps from with the threes all the way to the ones, and I think he's standing out amongst the ones. So it's pretty interesting to see, because he can play all positions in the receiver. He can move all around. To be 6'6", he can move all around. So that's another weapon that Josh can have that can complement a Dalton Kincaid, a Dawson Knox, a Curtis Samuel, Shakur, and a Keon Coleman. So the Bills have complementary pieces, but at wide playmaking ability. Okay, if I can't insert him, then I can insert a Mac Hollins. I can insert again, a Khalil Shakur. So there's so many varieties and variations that you're going to see in this offense. I just can't wait to see how Coach Brady is going to attack the Bears with what we've been seeing so far in training camp. But those has been a surprise. Tyrell Shavers, it's kind of like a competition going on at tight end number 3. Zach Davidson and Quentin Morris.
Okay, Quentin getting challenged.
A little bit, but I still think that Quentin Morris, being
familiar with
fighting number 3 last year and having the quality reps that he's had should really outweigh that. Like, he has a lot of game experience, in the Bills uniform, and again, he's a vital piece on special teams as well. So Davidson is pushing the pot, but it's still Quentin Moore's spot to lose. So again, we'll see how things really shake out come preseason time, because that's just another phase of evaluation with these guys. From t-shirt to shorts and helmets to some pads there a little bit. Now you up against other teams trying to fight for a job in the NFL. So it's different levels to it. So we're going to see, is it really translating, come this weekend against the Bears?
All right. So, what's the chances that Tyrell Shavers makes this team?
Right now, man, it's above average. I'm telling you that.
Let's say he has the same quality of preseason as he had of training camp.
He makes the roster.
Tyrell Shavers breakout year, and you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. If that boy have a big season, I'm pulling this clip back up. I just want y'all to know that.
Well, let's not forget that the Bills do develop quite well. Right. I mean, they know how to develop their guys, and the Bills would rather take a guy that's developing in their scheme rather than a veteran that's being paid money. So. Don't know. Will it push? A surprise cut. Again, Marquez Valdez-Scantling is not. It's not the flashiest, but is that his role? We'll see. Once preseason games begin, on how that would really shake out and where he's going to be playing. During the course of the game. So yeah, it definitely could push that. It could push Claypool, who's dealing with a toe injury right now. Don't know what his status is quite for this weekend's game, but you definitely want to see those guys at 100%, so we can really get a true evaluation. And you hate to see somebody lose a spot because of injury. So it's the nature of the business. So, hopefully Claypool could be ready to roll. Come first preseason game, and then we'll see how that goes. KJ Hamler, he's been solid. He's definitely flashed on occasion. We'll just have to see how things work with special teams with him. So it's pretty deep. It's a lot of competition pieces in each category. That punt return, kick return competition is going to be quite heavy. It's going to really decide a roster spot. You got Daquan Hardy, who the Bills drafted as well from Penn State, who was a return specialist, and that's where they feel that, man, that's the chance where he can make the roster at. So how much did that push Hamler? How much did that make Hamler expendable? So it's gonna be pretty interesting to see, how things really shake out. But
real quick, just can you give us a brief synopsis on what our offensive line situation is looking like?
Offensive line is solid. Connor, he got to get snaps up a little bit more higher. Some snaps do come off low, but once he get in rhythm, he's fine. So that's one thing I've been having a careful eye on. How is he snapping the ball and having to fire out and do his job as blocking, and getting the ball to where Josh Allen, is comfortable receiving it. So yeah, that's some of the things I'm definitely going to be looking at, in that first series, against the Bears, how the center QB exchange is going to go. Would snaps be low, or would they be, right where Josh's comfort zone is at?
All right. So looking at it from the offensive line through the skill positions, the quarterback, well, maybe not the quarterback, but are there any question marks on this offense heading into the season that may be concerning you a little bit?
I mean, question marks will be Brady. That'll be the biggest question mark. How will he be able to get all these weapons involved? How will he be able to, have balance? Let's keep in mind James Cook had a breakout season going over 1,000 yards. How will he be able to use James Cook production, with Josh's arm talent? So that blend right there. How would a run compensate the pass? Going into this season will be the only thing I would have in question. But again, we're talking Josh Allen, right? So that right there fits his skill set. It's something that Dorsey couldn't really pinpoint out of Josh Allen last year. So, let's see what Brady has in reference to complement and running pass. That's the only thing I really have in question. But hopefully we'll get a chance to see, that in its rare form in the preseason.
All right. Well, since we're on coaching, I got to ask, we had Ken Dorsey. We brought him on after kind of being with the team for a while, knowing the system, knowing the players, being comfortable with everybody. And that didn't go quite as smoothly as maybe we would have hoped it would have went, right? So now we find ourselves in a similar situation with Bobby Babich, who has a lack of experience as well at the coordinator position. How concerning is that for this season?
I don't think it's concerning at all. I think everything kind of happens for a reason, and with so much turnover, with this roster, and obviously, the biggest names was on the defensive side with Poyer and Hyde and Trey White, Leonard Floyd, and those guys. So when you have that turnover and you basically starting over new with some seasoned guys in their fourth year, you got Von Miller, obviously that's big unk now, but when you're really starting new defensively, you might as well go ahead and start, with a new younger guy as the play caller as well. So installing Bobby Babich right now, I think was a good time. It's not like he's coming from somewhere else and being in DC. The guys are super familiar with him. Matt Milano and Terrell Bernard, obviously, he was the linebackers coach. He was their linebackers coach. So to have that familiarity with those guys now being the signal caller when those guys are normally green dot guys anyway, strengthens that relationship. Even in the front four with Ebenezer Rousseau, Ed Oliver and DQ, up front, and now, Dwayne Carter. I think that, it's right time. I like how he coaches. He's a barcologist. He definitely don't let them breathe. If they mess up one time, you definitely gonna hear his voice about it. So that's what you need. That's what the Bills need. I mean, Coach McDermott showed last year that, hey, don't worry. My clip is still fully loaded when needed. Right, my clip is fully loaded. But now it's time to let the next guys up. Tweak this offense, put some new wrinkles in, because you do have older guys that know your system now. So might as well start fresh with with something new. Just start something with new, and Coach McDermott can help guide that along the way. So I think Babbage is definitely going to bring something exciting to this defense. The guys already plays for him, and with the addition of Jamal Uday, the DB's coach, you see tremendous strides in Kyer Elam's game. I mean, he's jumping things left and right. He's looking like a Rasul Douglas on the other side there.
Nice.
So I would say, those two additions there defensively, and then you still have safety coach Dana, who still I think is doing a phenomenal job with the safeties that are there. I mean, Taylor Rapp is running down on things too at camp, and he's looking like he's really grasped the playbook. So he's playing with confidence. You do have some nagging injuries to Cole Bishop and Mike Edwards, but when those guys get in tip-top form, they'll be ready to perform at a high level. So I'm not really concerned about the nicked up guys, but again, I think the coaching is in place to help develop what it needs offensively and defensively from a coaching standpoint. They just gotta they're gonna have some growing pains, right? So we'll see what those are and what do they do to overcome it, but still in the beginning of the season.
Yeah. I mean, of course, for Babbage specifically, having McDermott, there, if you need anything, is, that's a great defensive coordinator in his own right. But speaking of McDermott, what do you see his role being for the team this season? I mean, obviously he's the head coach and, like the senior defensive coordinator almost, but just, I feel like he kind of needs to reestablish himself with the team. What do you think his role will be?
I think he's having a more, I don't want to say laid back, but yeah, just take some of the pressure off himself. I mean, Coach McDermott, you going into it his 8th, 9th season now, so it's like you gotta trust somebody with your baby, and I think that with these young guys and and Brady and Babbage, I think that you're going to see Coach McDermott evolve a little bit more. He's going to see things a little bit more differently, as a head coach, because now I feel that he'll be a little bit more comfortable on, loosening the reins. He always let his coaches coach, make no mistake about it. But again, he has a job he has to do as well. So I think that allowing his coordinators get a feel for his players, I think is key right now. They don't really need Coach McDermott, even though I know Coach is a hands-on guy. He will get right there and he instruct and show you exactly what he's talking about. But I see Babbage is really taking the reins dead on, with his coaching staff, and then obviously Coach McDermott do come in and gives his pointers and things like that on technique and fundamentals, because that's what he do. He's a technician and he preaches the fundamentals no matter what. So, but I think him taking a more laid back approach will give him more time to focus on, I guess what's more needed, as a head coach than opposed to being a coordinator.
I have to agree. I think that would probably be best for him as well. I really still believe in his team. I know it's popular to say that the Bills are out of it, and Dolphins got stronger and all this other stuff. A lot of the same stuff they said last year actually is being said again this year. So
I mean, how they get stronger? I mean, because of the contracts, I'm still trying to figure that out. Like,
don't
we
know.
got to stop. All my NFL analysts and all that good stuff. You got to stop clout chasing, man. Stop clout chasing because OBJ is at Miami. So we got to stop. We got to stop name chasing, man.
Yeah.
We got to stop doing that. After this year, I guess they're going to have a boatload of names to choose from out of this Bills team going into next year, because it's going to be a handful of guys that's going to be making plays in Bills uniforms this year. So we got to stop doing that, and I think that's what everybody is really doubting the Bills because of that, because of the big names are gone. There's no more Poyer, there's no more Hyde, there's no more Trey White, there's no more Diggs, there's no more Davis, there's no more Floyd, so there's no more Mitch Moore. So when you get important pieces like that, they feel that the Bills are going to fall off. And then I've been reminding the whole world that the Bills had the best roster in football last year because of that quality depth. And when you lose your top two corners, and you lose your linebackers all the way to your fifth and sixth linebacker, and you still got a chance to win in the divisional playoffs with that against a Patrick Mahomes.
That's a good point.
So my thing is, you'll see now for a full season with those guys not being there. I mean, they've been doing that, for the past 2.5 years anyway. Tre'Davious been dealing with injuries, and Trey's been dealing with injuries. Poyer has had his, and Hyde has had his as well. So, the Bills have been, quite all right, with those guys, but they would do a lot more, with those guys being healthy. Obviously, Milano and Bernard was key to that defense success last year. And with any of those two in that divisional playoff game, it definitely would have been different. So, again, you get to see it this year, full season without those guys, and everybody will see, what I'm talking about. It's not going to be too much of a drop off defensively, just based upon the scheme and some of the new things that, Coach Babbage is installing. I just don't see it. This team is still going to be well coached. They're going to come to play, and they're going to have more weapons. They're going to have more weapons than a lot of people are really thinking right now. Look at AJ Epineza. He's starting. Last year he didn't start, and he was highly productive. He got nicked up as well, but when healthy, him and Rousseau was just having a fantastic camp. So you're going to see those two bookends, wreaking havoc, pushing the pocket to Oliver and Taquan Jones. Good luck with that. And the healthy Terrell Bernard and the Matt Milano flying around, that's where that's where the wisdom and the knowledge is at. So that's going to help the back end. We got veteran safeties back there. It's just not the name of Poyer or Hyde. We've got Rasul. I think Rasul is going to have a awesome season again. Or Pro Bowl, if not an All Pro. And man, we got a great competition going over there at corner number 2 with Benford and Elam. So you got two solid guys. So you got a great 3-man rotation there. You sprinkle Cam Lewis in that. And, the Bills corner situation is pretty tight. So it's really no drop off defensively when you really look at it. It's just the names are not there now. So, Bills, all the analysts, they'll see that pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to have any choice. I mean, you take a look at the team, and there's really no justification to say that the Bills are going to have some type of slump. I mean, you look at first of all, the biggest thing is Stephon Diggs gone. Stephon Diggs was barely used down the stretch of the season last season, and that was the winning of the games. And I understand that him being on the field is a threat in itself. I get that. But I'm pretty sure the offense with Josh Allen is going to be able to produce some points. The defense, Trey White missed a season and a half for ACL. Micah Hyde missed a season with the neck. Jordan Poyer missed significant time with the arm. You know what I mean? Like Von Miller missed a season with the ACL. our All-Pro linebacker Matt Milano missed this season with a leg. So I mean, we've been missing all these players, and we've still been competing. We've been going toe to toe with the dynasty. Like, yeah, because if not for some, last minute either failures by our defense or whatever the case, or special teams, we go to the Super Bowl a couple times in the last few years with all those injuries. So the defensive thing, you getting back Matt Milano, you're getting back Von Miller. You know what I mean? I love Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, but you get younger at the safety position. And then Rasul Douglas probably, was better than Tre'Davious White at the time when Tre'Davious White came in. He never quite went back to that all-pro level after the ACL. But Rasul Douglas obviously played very well last season. And we know what Christian Benford did as a late round pick, coming in and making a name for himself. And Kyer Elam, I hear he's looking good. That makes me very, very happy because he's got all the tools. He literally has all the tools. He's big, strong, long, fast. He can do everything. So if he can put it all together, he can be a special player for us. So I just don't see the justification in saying that there's going to be some type of slippage. You got Dalton Kincaid, James. Like, there's a ton of weapons for this team to go off of. And then a defensive philosophy that has been tops in the NFL for the last 6-7 years. So I think that the Bills will be just fine. But looking forward to Saturday, the Bills take on the Chicago Bears. First football action for the Buffalo Bills this season. What players are you looking to keep an eye out for?
I'm gonna see. I definitely want to see Keon Coleman. I want to see Keon Coleman. How he's going to be used. How effective can he be? Offensively. Let's get this established right away with him. Let's get him going. We do have probably the best tight end tandem in the NFL with Kincaid and Knox. So I just want to see how explosive can this offense be right off the rip. Don't even play around with it. Let's just see for what it really is. How explosive can this offense be with the weapons that it has. Then after that, you got the twos and you got the threes battling. I think you're going to see it. Those guys are going to get a lot of action this week. We obviously know, Josh and company, those guys probably see a series of two at best. And then you're going to see, the twos and threes. The Bills have a lot of guys, new faces on this roster that they really have to evaluate. So I think you're going to see, twos and threes really go at it. So, you're going to see a lot of Ray Davis, so I would love to see how he's going to look in this offense up against competition. We're going to see a lot of Frank Gore, so you're going to get a good idea of, who's going to make that room with those guys. The receiver room, obviously, starting with Coleman from Shavers to Justin Shorter to MVS to Claypool to Hamler. Isabella went down with an injury, got carted off today. So normally when you're carted off, that's not a good sign there. Just to see how, who's going to thrive in the receiver room. Even the O-line, you got competition there, man. Alec Anderson, I think, is having one fantastic camp. Richard Garage is having a fantastic camp. Grable and even Clayton has been coming on as of late. I was talking with Aaron Cromer, after the Red Blue scrimmage, and he's really excited to have younger guys that he can develop into what the Bills are looking for offensively, rather than getting a veteran guy that's pretty much set in his ways, and you're paying him more money, right? So he's really excited to have the guys that he has, man. So it's what 18, 19 linemen, that's on this roster. So it's going to be tough to see how many linemen that this Bills, really would make the roster. Will it be 10? Will it be 9? Will it be 8? How many receivers will it be? So a lot of that stuff we're definitely going to see, So I definitely want to see, those position group battles. On the flip side, I want to see Carter and Solomon. I want to see the rookies. They've been really having a solid camp. Nobody's really as disappointed out of this rookie class. I do want to see more Van Pran. I think I'm going to get a better evaluation from Van Pran, when preseason games start. And I'm talking about the center from Georgia. Just about, just about everybody has checked the box. So I can't wait to see, Daquan Hardy, getting his opportunity in the punt return game, what that's going to actually look like. Because if he take one to the house, I'm telling you now, man, he's going to push somebody. It's going to be kind of difficult for the Bills to make this, this 53, and it's going to be a lot of players that can definitely push the envelope all the way to the end. So to see, what they're actually going to do against another team is the biggest question mark that I have. But other than that, I'm really excited to see, what it is, what is it going to actually.
Okay, I don't know what happened to his stream, but so he was talking about Daquan Hardy, obviously the new return man that the Bills just drafted, and him replacing Deontay Hardy. Looking at the Bills special teams, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not totally comfortable with having Tyler Bass as our kicker going into the season. I think that he has almost become a little bit of a liability, and I hope that he can prove me wrong. I really do. I was Tyler Bass's biggest fan. I genuinely thought Tyler Bass, Josh Allen, and Dawson Knox were all in that raw but ultra talented, skill set type of group. Obviously, Josh Allen panned out. Dawson Knox is above average, I would say, but he hasn't really panned out into like the all-world tight end I thought he could be. And then Tyler Bass, strong leg, excuse me. I thought that he would be just, I thought that he would be one of the best kickers in the league, up there with like Harrison Butker and Justin Tucker, and he just isn't. And granted, I understand that kicking in Buffalo is not the easiest thing in the world. That does have to be taken into consideration, but there are times where his misses are not okay. And then there's other kickers who come here and will make a kick that he missed or from like further away. And it's just like, we need a little bit more consistency there. So that does make me a little uncomfortable. So we'll see what happens this year with the special teams and Tyler Bass. But ultimately, looking at this Bears matchup, I'm just excited to see what our defensive line can do. That's always, it seems to be what I look at in the preseason for the Bills, probably because our defensive line hasn't really been great recently under the McDermott era, I would say. So I always want to see what they can do in the preseason and see if they can build some momentum and make some noise. I'm also excited because this is really the first time in preseason where no matter what wide receiver group is on the field, I'm going to be excited to see it because we have a ton of depth at the wide receiver position. And I want to see each and every one of those guys try to make plays because I feel like it could lead to them potentially being on or off the roster, whether it's Claypool, Shavers, Keon Coleman, obviously, Shakir, those guys are making the roster. Samuel is making the roster. But, the Mac Hollins and the blanking on his KJ Hamler, I want to see those guys every play. I highly doubt we're going to see Josh this weekend. I feel like you're going to get a lot of Mitch Trubisky. But I'm excited to see the wide receiver. Oh, Muki's back. All right, there we go.
Yeah,
all right, you were talking about you good?
Yeah, man. What's going on?
You were talking about Daquan Hardy?
Yeah, Daquan Hardy is a guy, again, special teams that he really can make this roster. That's, one of the reasons why he was drafted because he's an electrifying punt returner. So, he's been playing inside and outside as far as the corner spot, but special teams is where, he has a strong chance to make the roster. So I definitely want to see, him getting that opportunity. We know that's going to happen, versus the Bears. So the draft picks, I think that they're going to be good. Even all the way down to Grable Stevenson, our wrestler, right? You want to see what he's going to do against the opposition. Let's keep in mind the Bills do have Travis Clayton from the UK and Grable as well. They picked in the 7th round. So again, this is a very, very deep offensive line, very, very deep rookie class. And we're going to see these guys get the opportunity to make plays, and we're really going to see them against a lot of we're going to see them quite a bit. Like you was just saying, you're not going to see Josh too much. Not the first game. You're not going to see Samuel and those guys. Not too much. You're not going to see Cook. Not too much. Again, you may see them a series, and then they're coming out. The Bills have a lot of fresh faces in new places, and they gotta get a true evaluation, because they got a lot of interchangeable players. They got guys that can play up and down the offense and defensive line. You got guys that can play, corner and safety as well. So, and then there's some safeties that can play linebacker. So, the Bills are going to be moving a lot of pieces around to get a fair assessment of all the talent that they have on the roster. So that's where I always like week ones, because you really get a real good look at the new pieces that's really trying to make the team. We already know what a quarter of this team actually look like. We need to see the remainder of what's that's going to look like, especially when you got new signal callers on both sides of the ball. So yeah, I'm really excited to see that against the Chicago Bears, and again a familiar foe in Coach Washington. So it's going to be really excited to see how Coach Washington comes out and play his former offense. Will it be like practice from last year? What's going to be different between the two? What's going to be the difference in Joe Brady's offense versus Eric Washington's defense? What is going to be different? And on the flip side, what's going to be different? From the offense having to stop, top pick Caleb Williams and those guys out there. So I'm quite sure that just because it's week one, that it's not going to be it's not going to be any drop off from intensity. I'll tell you that much, because you got a lot of guys trying to find a job on this team. So it's going to be pretty intense, and those guys are going to be ready to roll.
Yeah, absolutely. So already confirmed, we will not see Caleb Williams, but Tremaine Edmonds will be coming back to town, whether he plays or not. We'll see. But yeah, Buffalo Bills, Chicago Bears. Before we get out of here, real quick, Coach, who are your most improved players in training camp, in terms of maybe you saw them one way at the end of last season, you saw them in training camp. By the end of training camp, you were like, oh wow, okay.
Well, obviously Kyrie Elam, where he's been playing in training camp, I think he leads all DBs with interceptions in training camp. I think he had 4 interceptions, 3 for sure. I'm not sure if it's a 4th one, but he's having quite the camp. Richard Garage again during one-on-ones, he's standing out. He's looked very sharp. Alec Anderson, another guy who's moved up and down the line. He can play center, he can play guard for you. So he's been kind of solid there. Defensively, it's like so many guys. You got Deion Jones, who's definitely showing his veteranship out there, making plays, having a nose for the ball. So that's a guy. I mean, I'm not sure if the Bills going to keep both Morrow and Jones, but if I had to keep between the two, Jones is right now.
Oh man, I don't know what's going on with coaching stuff, but we were almost at the end of the show anyway. So thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate all of the support as always. Make sure you guys tune into the Buffalo Fanbase YouTube page. Like, subscribe, share, retweet, repost. We appreciate all of it, everything you guys do for us. So thank you, and we will see you guys later.
team and that's for real. Oh, you said something? When the kickoff, he gon' kneel. I don't wanna hear none if it ain't about the bills. We'll be running out the tunnel, better stay up on your heels. We might leave your ankles on the field, put you on the rail. How you feel? Feel the watch the sweep just like a broom. Hail Mary and put his GM in a tomb. Make some room, call it timeout, cause they not ready. Think they feeling all the pressure, cause they know I apply it heavy. Try to cover one-on-one, my cuss gon' be too deadly. Have him watching all that film while he's snuggling on his teddy. Man, who let me step up in the game with a mindset of making sure I'm heard. I'm pointing tenant, it ain't time yet. When it is, I bet you know. Don't fix your legs to come around me if you acting all scary in the snow. Oh, you said something? Tell your homie better chill. He don't ride how we ride for our team, and that's for real. Oh, you said something? When the kickoff, he gon' kneel. I don't wanna hear none if it ain't about them bills. Oh, you said something? Tell your homie better chill. He don't ride how we ride for our team, and